I operated for about 3 years without registration, without the legal documents for me to operate. To the extent that I started playing cat and mouse with the regulatory authorities.
What I've noticed, most of our young people, they now want this Mbinga syndrome, whereby someone is just coming from school A level, they now want to be Dr. Koke. They now want to drive a car which you're driving. They want to stay in a house which you're staying, but they don't know that things they want to come on a silver platter.
My fervent belief is that the curriculum should be modeled around the demands for production of services and products.
Exactly.
Let's have a framework around what sort of products do we want to produce.
Exactly.
What sort of services do we want to offer to the public.
Greetings, Africa. My name is Jerry Nyazungu, aka the Chartered Vendor. Welcome to Jailbreak Africa, where we try to demystify where it went wrong in terms of the African economy, in terms of business. We talk education, sales, and everything which can affect Africa. So welcome. And today I'm actually super excited because I'm joined by someone who's very, very special in my life and also in our business. That is Dr. Koke, the founder and the CEO of Direct Contact Group of Schools. Welcome, Dr. Koke.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koke. Yeah, I know out of your very busy schedule, you managed to come. Who is Dr. Koke?
Yes, my name is Wellington Koke. I come from Gokwe.
Okay.
Yes, that's where I did my primary education. That's where I was born and bred.
Serious?
Up to primary level.
Okay.
Yes, up to grade 7.
Uh-huh.
And then out of courtesy of a relative, I then moved to Bindura.
Okay.
Yeah, where I then did my secondary education. And then after that, I finished my secondary education in 1997.
Okay.
In Bindura. And then I went straight into temporary teaching. Yeah, where my first stint was in Chuesh in Glendale.
Okay.
Musarara, to be specific. Yeah, and then I moved to another school there.
Temporary teaching
again. For about 2 years. I was doing temporary teaching, post A level.
Hey.
And then I enrolled at Harare Poly around 2000 for a higher national diploma in accountancy, of which I did 2 years. After my national diploma, I then went over to the University of Zimbabwe, where I did my Bachelor of Accountancy honors at University of Zimbabwe. And then, that has been the journey.
Okay.
Then I did.
And were you full time? Because I was also a temporary teacher.
Okay.
Just after my A level, I got into temporary teaching as well.
Okay.
And I did about 8 months. So I want to know, how was the journey? Did you actually spend your time in temporary teaching? And were you full time at the college and at the university?
Yes, I was full time. I was juggling.
Okay.
Yes, I was juggling. You know, when I was even at Harare Poly, where I started the juggling of the temporary teaching and the studies at Harare Poly. So, funny enough, they didn't know. My employers then didn't know that I was. Yes, my employers then didn't know that I was a student at Harare Poly. Yeah, even at Harare Poly, they didn't know as well. They didn't know that I was also working part-time.
So how were you balancing?
I was balancing. You see, when I had to engineer, I had to come up with a program that you had to balance, that you had to take into account the needs of both the expectations. At Harare Poly, I was attending lessons here and there, and then presenting assignments. And at an institution where I was teaching.
Was it in the evening or even
throughout the day? I would juggle. I would just look at my timetable to then say, what are the exactly what are the programs, what are the modules that are there today, and vis-a-vis the expectations at this institution, and then I would miss some, and then prioritize the teaching. So I developed a strong passion because remember I was coming from temporary teaching.
Exactly.
So the passion grew. To the extent that even when I moved over to the University of Zimbabwe, I was still teaching. I continued.
Serious?
I continued for about my Bachelor of Accounting took me about 3 years. Then it was 3 years.
It was 3
but
years.
now I reckon it's around 4 years thereabout.
Yeah.
Throughout the period, I was juggling. Yeah, I would either I'm doing some day I miss lessons. I'm teaching, and then some I'm at university. Okay. So that's how I then developed a passion for teaching. To the extent that when I then finished my first degree at the university, instead of pursuing accountants, remember my dream was to become an accountant. Yes. I never at one point applied for an accounting job.
Serious? You remained teaching?
I remained teaching. I remember very well that during our time then, around 2002 and 3, that's when I then finished at university. Accounting firms, they would come and scout for students while we were students on second year.
Okay.
So I had offers. We had offers. Almost the entire class would get offers. Ernst & Young, Deloitte & Touch, a lot of other companies. But funny enough, I never pursued that. I continued with my teaching. So after that, I then started this business of teaching home-based, what I could call home-based teaching. I would move into people's houses.
Okay.
In the Greater Harare. Yeah, Avondale, Mount Pleasant. I remember Shawasha was then starting by then.
And which subjects were you teaching?
I was teaching geography and accounting, and sometimes maths. But my special areas were geography and accounting. So where did that come? I created a name. When I was teaching at that institution, while I was still at Harare.
Exactly.
Year 1999, 2000, I produced one of the best set of results.
Serious?
Around, yes, for ZIMSEC, for A-level geography. To the extent that I was known, my demand grew.
Exactly.
But by then, I wasn't that much enlightened to the extent of knowing what to do with that demand. But so when I then moved to the university, people were still following me to the extent that I didn't struggle to find clients. Why? Because they would come, they would look for me. Why? Because I had already created a name.
Exactly.
But it was unconscious in me because I didn't know that
people now
knew me. I didn't know that I'd created a name. So I didn't struggle. So when I then went on a sojourn of getting into people's houses,
exactly.
Then moving from one place to the other, I had the following. People started calling me and to the extent that by the year 2006 and 7, I was then overwhelmed by the demand. Remember, I was teaching geography and accounting. But I would have people who would then tell me, no, come in, my son wants to be taught physics, my son wants mathematics, my son.
And they're now thinking that you can do everything.
Exactly. So I would try to explain to them, no, look,
no, I'm
not a physicist. I'm not a historian.
Exactly.
They would then say, no, we have heard your name, we have heard about you.
We
know that you can do this. We want someone, but who is under your tutelage, someone who is under your supervision. Can you please supervise that person for you to then be able to offer the service that we want? So I grew up a staff complement of about 120 teachers. I remember very well.
How did you do it, the 120 teachers now?
They would, because they knew that there was a Koke in town. We had taken the vibe, who was vibing during that time.
Okay.
So
and remember, there was no social media.
There was no social media. You understand? So they would just be referred to me. So some of them, they were referred by my clients.
Okay.
Where I was teaching.
They say, no, this guy.
Yeah, they say, no, this guy. No, you have got a child. Yes, that. No, this guy. So some teachers, some of them where I stayed, by then, I was staying in Highfields. That's where I stayed.
I also stayed in Highfields.
Yes,
so I used to. Where exactly?
I was staying in Old Highfields.
I was also staying at Old Highfields. That's where the first robots are.
Okay.
Just when you're getting into high fields, that's where I was staying.
Okay.
So,
So as you get into high fields, there's the Stones area.
Exactly.
And then you turn into this road after Mangwende, the next road.
Exactly.
They call it Javavu Drive.
Javavu Drive.
Yeah. So I was staying corner Javavu Drive, and there's an area which was called K. The K's.
Exactly.
I
know it.
So that's the area the way I was staying in a one room there. So yeah, the name grew and the institution grew. But
without
then,
you knowing that,
without
this is a
me
business.
knowing, yeah. Remember, by that time, I operated for about 3 years without registration, without the legal documents for me to operate. To the extent that I started playing cat and mouse with the regulatory authorities. So they would then come and then say, sometimes when people would gather around TM, formerly TM, Arrest Street, there was a tree that was just on the entrance of TM and Arrest Street. So they would gather there waiting for me there to deploy them to various places where they were supposed to go for individual teaching. Remember, I struggled. Why? Because there was this POSA, POSA.
A POSA, exactly.
So sometimes Public Order and Security Act. So some policemen would take me. Why are you gathering all this? Is it a rally? Exactly. Why are you gathering people? Is this sanctioned?
And
no,
it's in the morning.
It's not a gathering. Yes, but I'm
just deploying people.
I'm trying to. So I would be taken to Arrest Central. I would go there and explain myself. Sometimes I would spend the whole day trying to explain myself out. How it is.
Exactly.
So then I would. So I would juggle in between to then say. So I ended up, I moved from TM to Wimpy First Street.
Okay, yeah.
So at Wimpy, I devised a system whereby I would buy my food at Wimpy and then the guys would come and see me one by one. So I buy food, they come in one by one.
Then you start having your meetings.
I start having my meetings. I speak to them. Then I tell them, no, you are going to Westgate. You are going to one place, and so you catch your lift there. This one, I'm taking you there. So I divide for about 2 years at Wimpy.
Serious?
Yeah, at Wimpy.
And probably our young people would wonder, why would you just gather there instead of just creating a WhatsApp group? That was the time when most of the people didn't have phones.
We didn't have phones, yeah, correct. We didn't have phones. Yeah, so by the year 2007, 2008, yeah, the vibe grew as well. And then we secured the place. Number 60, I remember, number 67, Selous Corner Avenue. Yeah, and I went in, I negotiated. It was a townhouse owned by some white couple. And I negotiated. I remember very well, the renter was 1.5. But I didn't have the 1.5 then. So what did I do? I negotiated with them. Then so this is what I want to do.
I don't have any money.
Don't have any money.
Vision.
Yeah, but look, but I think with my vision and with my passion and with my following the informer, I would call it the informer boss. I didn't know
how many
people would follow me. So that was around August 2009. I remember very well. It was 15 August. I remember the very day very well. Yeah. So then I launched there, and then I started telling those clients of mine.
You say no, now I'm
now at 67 Zelug Avenue.
You can now come.
You can now come. Corner 7. You can now come. I am there. It took me the rest of 2009 to finish. As you got into 2010. By then, the numbers grew. They started coming. Koke now is now in town. Koke is now formalized. Koke is now in town. So the number grew. So 2010, our first set of students, by end of 2010, the number grew. It started coming in big numbers. And then, I was now able to sustain even the rentals. Exactly. I remember the first 6 months, most of my employees, they were not on salary.
Okay.
What I did was to explain. I had about six of them. I explained to them the situation. Guys, we are here to start a project. Remember, the initial where we are coming from.
We don't have anything.
We were doing home based.
We only have a name.
So can we just be patient? And if things doesn't work out, I'll find out a way I can even sacrifice my car. Remember, I bought my first car in 2006 through this home-based kind of thing.
The one that travel now.
Yes, the one that I used to deliver to teachers to people's homes. So I even promised this: if things doesn't work out in 6 months or even a year at most, I will sell my car, then
Then
I will offset your arrears. But let's be modest in terms of the expectations. We know the thing will grow because I know I'm quite passionate and I'm quite sure
That
the vision is big.
exactly.
This thing is going to grow.
Exactly.
They were very patient. And some of them, I still have them.
Do you still have some of them?
I still have some of them, yes.
For example?
Mushore is that.
Serious?
Yes, Mushore.
Okay,
There's
okay.
a guy called Bright Mushore. I still have them.
Serious? Out of 6, you've got how many?
Out of 6, I think I now have, there are about 3 now.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we then grew, and then in leaps and bounds, then after 2010, the numbers, we started intensifying, increasing, and then 2010, 2011, end of 2011, we had grown. Even the bankers started approaching us.
Okay, the name Direct Contact was launched when? 2009, 15 August.
Yeah, exactly.
It started at Direct Contact. Why Direct Contact?
Direct Contact, the concept was, we remember you're coming from a one-on-one.
Exactly.
Kind of
okay.
So we were saying, our motto was, we are saying we are in direct contact with your educational needs.
Okay.
We are in direct contact with your educational needs. So that was the philosophy. So we then adopted that name, Direct Contact. Why we are in direct contact, whatever we need educationally. That was the thrust, and that was the philosophy. So we then did that, and because of that, at first when we launched in August, because people knew me. They knew Koke. Because remember, when we were doing home-based, the name Direct Contact was not known. They knew Koke.
Koke, exactly.
Yeah, so it took us about 2 years
to remove the
exact name. Exactly. Because even at reception, my new guys would then say, they come here, they say, I want to see Koke. But Koke it's no longer Koke now. This is now an institution. Koke is the person who initiated, who came up with the idea.
Exactly.
But he's no longer the institution.
Exactly.
So let's separate between the institution. I had to be strategic, to then say, how do I win myself off from the institution? Why? Because the brand has to set on this one. It has to have a separate legal life from me as the individual. Exactly. But we then managed after about 2-3 years thereabout. And then in 2011, we bought a piece of land in Mandara, where we are housed now.
Okay.
I just got it on the open market, through Canaan Properties, and then I went there for viewing, and then I didn't have money to buy.
Serious?
I didn't have money to buy. I want to be very honest. So what I approached my bankers.
Assist me.
Yes, this is what I want to do, and this is my potential. And they'd seen how exponentially we'd moved in about 2 years. Exactly. So they assessed our rate of growth. They trusted. And then they agreed to finance the project. We bought the land. The figure was quite high for me then, because it was quite big. Then 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, I was still remained in town.
Serious?
But we were trying to build some capital for us to be able to initiate. So then in 2016, we started our first project to start construction.
Okay.
At our current place in Mandara, where the school is housed now.
Okay.
So 2016, then we first block, second 2 blocks, then we moved everything to Mandara in 2017. January 2017. That's when we moved everything to Mandara.
Okay.
So ever since our move to Mandara, now people knew.
It's now
everything started to fall into place.
Okay.
In terms of whatever we wanted, and then with our vision, and we started pulling in the right direction and everything. That's where we are at the moment.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. So you've heard the story, the journey, the pain, and right now Dr. Koke, the temporary teacher, who became a popular teacher, now is the CEO. After the break, we want to talk about the entrepreneurship side of the story. Because we know that it's not easy like most of us think. Right now, we can now see buses, 65-seaters, 75-seaters, hovering around Harare. We now see a lot of buses for direct contact. If you go at the school, it's so beautiful. I can tell you, it's an A school. It's an A category school. And it's on international level. But we'll hear from the host's mouth to say what were the difficulties in terms of entrepreneurship. And we also want to discuss our education as a whole. Thank you so much. Keep on watching. See you after the break.
As we celebrate 10 years of building timeless businesses, M&J would like to take this opportunity to honor and celebrate our valued clients. Over the years, we have grown together, creating partnerships that have transformed dreams into reality.
We don't just celebrate our achievements, we celebrate the trust you have placed in us. Trust that has made us your partners in starting and establishing your companies, and partners in navigating the challenges of business.
We've been your partners in investing in Zambia, South Africa, and other countries, helping you tap into new markets and opportunities for sustainable growth and future.
Partners in ensuring compliance with local laws and regulations, and partners helping you grow sales revenue for your company.
We've also been partners in establishing strong HR policies that will not only help your organization, but will also help you to attract the best talent.
Of course, we've been partners in embracing technology, helping you to acquire and implement best solutions that can increase your efficiency and productivity in your business.
Here is to many more years of building long-lasting brands, businesses that endure for generations to come. Here is to 10 years of building timeless businesses with M&J.
The chartered vendor. Chartered, it simply means the experience which I got from the workplace and through formal education. Vendor, it simply means that I was once a vendor selling sweets, selling bananas on the streets. Combined, it makes the chartered vendor. Many people complain, they think that you need monetary capital to start a business. Contrary to that, I only started my business with only a laptop. If you want to know more about my story, grab your copy today. Welcome back. I'm hanging with Dr. Koke, the founder and the CEO of Direct Contact Group of Schools. This is a school which is situated in Mandara, Harare, one of the best schools. They've got boarding facilities, they've got day facilities. The school is outstanding. They're achieving amazing results, especially in Cambridge. Are you offering Zimsek?
Yes, for our junior school, we offer dual curriculum.
Okay.
Both
but
Zimsek and Cambridge. But for senior, for now, we are offering Cambridge.
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay. So we want to know now. I know that it wasn't easy. You talked about one room.
Yes.
You talked about from Gokwe via Bindura,
yes,
then Harare.
Yes.
What were the challenges which you faced? Because what I've noticed, most of our young people, they now want this Mbinga syndrome.
Okay.
Whereby someone is just coming from school A level, they now want to be Dr. Koke. They now want to drive a car which you're driving. They want to stay in a house which you're staying, but they don't know that things they want to come on a silver platter. What do you want to say to our people to say, what kind of challenges did you face as a teacher, probably, as a solo teacher, and also as an entrepreneur? So from the challenges also, what lessons did you learn?
Yes. So the challenges, I think they started even when I was temporary teacher. I was deployed in one of the most remotest areas in the country.
Okay.
Like there is an area called Dande Valley, Tstungo there. That was my third deployment after Bari in Tuition. So we would cross using there are those wooden boats. Yeah. So there's no bridge. There's no throughout the year perennially you cross the river into the school,
and it's big.
And the shops are over the river, and then the school is behind the other side. So I would endure a crocodile infested Dande River into that. So that was my first challenge.
Exactly.
It took me almost a year under such a difficult environment. And then when I then moved to come back to Harare, post my poly and post my university, what I discovered is that when you've got a passion for something, entrepreneurial skills, they need patience. That's number one. They need resilience. one of my most challenging stories about transforming this institution was when we moved from town to Mandara. I accumulated a lot of debts
because of the loan.
I actually, because my gearing ratio was too huge.
That's too huge, exactly.
To the extent that when we transitioned from town to Mandara, it was not a smooth transition. We lost some parents and students along the way. Why? Because Mandara was more like a new project.
Exactly.
The location was
also
also inconveniencing other parents.
Exactly.
And then hence the revenue was not
declined.
It declined. There was a sharp decline. So the creditors started cycling on me, to the extent that I remember very well that at some point most of our buses were attached. They know, even my current staff, they know. They've got first-hand information of what was happening. They would come, the message of court would come, would attach literally everything, including the desks and the chairs. And then while these learners are in there, and then the learners would then ask, what is this? We would try to manage the situation by trying to explain ourselves out of the situation. They no, they're trying to do a count of what these are ministry officials. What did you know what it is? So, yeah. That was a difficult situation. It was very difficult, but we managed to stay focused. We managed to engineer ourselves out of that very difficult situation, to the extent that by the time we got to around 2018, 2019 thereabout, we had extinguished all our obligations with all our creditors. But the journey, look, messenger of court writs were being served to the institution almost twice a week. Various creditors coming, cycling in on the school, cycling me at my place, at my home, at my residence. I lost entirely the whole house. I came from work one day and I found the whole house wiped out. Why? Because it had been attached and the goods had been removed by the messenger of court, to the extent that I had a challenge in explaining to my kids what had happened. One of my kids who was in grade 2 asked, "But Dad, where are the sofas? Where is my TV?" I had a challenge in explaining, convincing that boy. Now he's grade 6 now. Explaining to him that it was difficult.
And this is not far away. It's just about 5 years ago.
Exactly.
6 years ago.
6 years ago, exactly. So we had to...
And what was the feeling? Because I know there's someone who is going through hell right now.
Yes.
And there's a guy who once said, if you are going through hell, keep going.
Exactly.
What was the feeling like?
The feeling was because I was so confident
that this thing will work.
This thing will work. I was so confident that this thing worked. You know, when you are in a family setup, realistically,
exactly,
your family starts doubting.
You say,
this guy is leading us into abyss.
He's not in control.
Yeah, he's not in control. So, but because I was very sure of what was happening, I was very sure of the vision.
Exactly.
I was very sure of the trajectory.
Exactly.
That I wanted to take the institution to. So I didn't doubt myself to the extent that I would then explain to them, and then my wife was a pillar of strength, and she's still a strong pillar of strength in me.
She was trusting me.
Exactly. She kept on trusting, and then we maneuvered, and then we were patient. But what you need is strength. What you need is support. What you need is prayer.
Exactly.
You need to pray for these things. What I knew was that this was just a phase.
It's a phase.
I knew it was a phase. It would pass. Once it passed, what came out of that, my biggest lessons are the ones that then assisted me to drive the institution to where it is now. I've learned a lot through those hardships. In those 6 to 7 years that I suffered under heavy indebtedness to creditors, I learned a lot in terms of how you can...
from 2010 to 2019.
Yeah, no, it was the severest was from around 2011, 2012, right up to around 2019. That was the period.
This is a very long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. But to the extent that people... look, they doubted. One of my strongest issue was around resilience. Because I told my employees, I gathered them, I said, gentlemen, if I cannot navigate, if I cannot institute a turnaround strategy for this institution, then I've failed as a business person. Two, I would throw away my thesis for my doctorate. Because I can't be coded. I can't be called a doctor in the business administration when I'm failing to turn around an institution.
Exactly.
This is a test case.
Exactly.
If I fail to turn around this institution,
and this was now practical.
This was not practical. Exactly. I told them, no, look.
It's not research.
Yes. They say, are you serious? They said, yes, true. Please, if I fail to turn around this institution, but they didn't believe me. Some left, exactly. Quite a number left. If I fail to turn around this institution, please, don't call me a doctor. I don't qualify.
I don't qualify
because I'm too academic. That's theoretical.
Exactly.
It's not about doctor. It's not about titles that you are there to carry. No, you need to prove. If you have got a master's in an area, let's prove. Let's do it practically.
Exactly.
So I then told them, this is a test case. This is the thesis that I'm writing. This is the thesis that I'm writing. So measure my acumen in terms of on this. They didn't believe. They thought it was rhetoric. They thought it was trying to convince them to stay. But look, I managed to wiggle myself out of the situation, clean, smart, and now where we are. Some of them they came to the no. They always they reminisce the period. They reminisce the moment. This, where we came from in that period. Remember when you gathered us and told us that vividly that if I fail to turn around this institution, please don't call me a doctor. They say out those kind of statements even up to now.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was the experience, and it was very tough. And what about those who left? Are they still also coming? Are they coming back to also? If you ever had a case whereby someone now wants to come back when things are now okay?
Not only coming back, they inbox me, they call me, they say no. If you by any chance
if you've
have
but
anything that you can do for us or for me, wherever you can place me, even outside the teaching, can you please consider
just help me?
Yeah, because the level that we are now and the level that we were when we were struggling, it's more like a paradigm shift.
Exactly.
It's more like a 360 transformation of the institution.
Yeah.
But it was through hard work. It was through sheer strategic moves to be able to extricate ourselves as the institution from the point that we were.
Now? Those who are actually probably harsh, because I know that there are guys who are going to understand
those
you.
were the first to start coming. Yeah, those were the first to start coming. Some of them they've come back and
said, do you want another loan?
Yes, exactly. They want another loan. Yes, they are coming. And now, to be honest, I am now being selective in terms of
say no.
I don't want to know.
Because we remember what happened.
Exactly.
That time.
I'm now
because when I wanted you the most, you say no, I cannot help you. Yeah.
Now what's happening is that people are offering me deals. I don't look for facilities. People who line up facilities for me. Then I make a choice out of which one which I bargain to then say
which one is viable,
yes, on my own terms. No, the going market rate is 14%, but I don't want you. I don't want the 14%. I want 12. If you want to deal with me, I want 12.
If you don't want,
and then they say no. Let's negotiate. Let's go 12.5. Then, but then I didn't have the leverage to do that.
They're bullying you.
Exactly. It was a give and take situation. It was more like a take it or leave it situation.
Okay.
So yeah, it's now because they now realize. When they get to the institution,
the
value is now tremendously moved to the extent that they can't believe it is the same institution that you almost went into oblivion because of the obligation that we owed to extend our creditors.
Okay, now let's just talk about education.
Yes.
You were talking about H&D accounting,
yes,
BIAC, but I'm noticing something right now.
Okay.
Whereby the university, especially I'll talk about our universities, they've changed that degree, the Bachelor of Accounts honors.
Okay.
Now it has been divided into 4 or 5.
Okay.
Whereby it's now specializing on fiscal studies. Some are actually doing audit and assurance. Some are doing this and that. now I've been talking to the captains of industry.
Okay.
And I had almost 50 in the house, and I asked them, do you know that this degree was split? They didn't know.
Okay.
So they were actually saying, when we saw someone with just physical studies, we would say this person has done a degree because they failed. What I wanted to now ask is to say, is the education system still at where it was when you went to school in around 2000 as compared to now?
My honest submission and my honest assessment is that it's no longer the same. One, in terms of the quality that is to be churned out, in terms of the focus, and in terms of the thrust. Why? As they come out of university now, as we inducted them, you see the gap. There's a huge gap in terms of the expectations of the industry and commerce and the academic certificates that they are. So because of there's been a huge accumulation, there's been an appetite for accumulation of academic papers at the expense of the accumulation of the requisite skills to be able to tackle industry and commerce problems. Because remember, education is the purpose of education is to solve problems.
Exactly.
Is to solve societal problems.
Exactly.
What is it that you wanted to solve?
Exactly.
Is any thesis at master's level, at PhD level, at any other level, must be a result of an identifiable area of deficiency, which you want to then solve. So as we absorb them into commerce, as we absorb them into industry, you then notice the gap. That it's more to do with the accumulation of those papers. But they lack the kind of requisite skills, which then during that time, even in teaching, as we speak,
exactly,
we are inducting them. We are having to have in-house training.
Serious?
To the extent, yes.
That they've got degrees.
They've got degrees. You understand? We are assessing them in terms of even the level of content. There's a gap. So I think there's to be a realignment of my fervent belief is that the curriculum should be modeled around the demands for production of services and products.
Exactly.
Let's have a framework around what sort of products do we want to produce.
Exactly.
What sort of services do we want to offer to the public? And then from there on, we can then be able to deduce our curriculum around our product and service offering. But is the other way around. So as a result now, there is a disconnection between what is being produced at university and the tertiary institutions and what the market would ordinarily want to absorb in terms of the products and services. So there is a disconnection. So there need to be realignment. I know there are efforts around the current education 5.0. There are efforts around heritage-based learning, but still, there's a gap. There's a gap.
Because what I think is there was no consultation which was done to the captains of the industry, and people who are like you. Because right now, you're just in education. But currently, you are no longer just in education.
Correct.
You are now also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You are now facing challenges whereby you get someone with a master's degree, but they'll fail to write an email.
Correct.
So, consultation, I feel like they didn't consult the necessary people who were supposed to be the authors of the current the education system which is currently there.
Correct.
Because if you look at it right now, it's representing the captain of the industry. You just notice that there's a big gap. To the extent that right now, what the captains of industry are now saying, they are now opting for that, if you still remember, in early 2097, like what we're saying, Ernst & Young used to come and get people. Sometimes it used to come and get A-levels.
Yes, true.
Banks used to hire A-levels and train them internally.
Yes.
So that model is now back again.
Correct.
Whereby people are now saying, no. Let me get them when they're still O and A level.
Yes.
And give them skills which are going to help my company grow.
Correct.
So we now have a lot of internal trainings happening in organization.
Correct.
So my question now is, what can be easily, because this is not only a Zimbabwean syndrome. I was also in Zambia.
Okay.
Probably it's even worse than this side.
Okay.
Because in Zambia it's easy
No.
for someone to have an university.
Yes.
Hence we've got about 35 universities in Lusaka only.
Oh, wow.
So everyone has got a degree.
Yes, yes. True.
And the question now is, who is now qualified? Because when everyone is holding a degree.
Yes, exactly.
So this is an African syndrome. How can we now tackle it? Because I strongly believe that that's the gap which is there between us and China,
Correct.
between us and the Western countries. What can be done now? So that probably, I know the government officials will be listening, the people who can play a part, because we cannot only put this to the government.
Yes.
What is also direct contact doing to address this? To say, a kid who is going to come from direct contact, I know that this person is able to solve these problems which are being faced by the society. What are you doing as a person? And what can also be done at government level, at community level, at council level, in order to address this thing which is going to kill Africa in future?
Okay. Yes. So I think the first port of call would be a 360-degree transformation of the education that we inherited from the colonial government. Why am I saying so? Issues around career guidance, issues around talent identification, issues around nurturing of talent and development of talent. I still believe that you don't need to develop an electrician, for example, at tertiary level.
Exactly.
Those skills must be developed at kindergarten level.
Exactly.
To then say that's fine. We have identified a learner who is talented, who is passionate, who has got skills in this field of engineering. Why do we need to expose him to some other fields, some other areas that do not add value to the talent that we have identified? Let's have a shift to a kindergarten kind of identification of talent, to then say, if we identify that this one is an engineer in terms of our talent identification, so let's invest more in talent identification, career guidance, passion development, nurturing, and enhancing certain skills. So I believe the model around the one that we have now is late. We are doing it at a later stage, which is already late for us. Why? Because time has already lapsed. Why? Because we are only able to identify a person's talent post the academics.
25, 26 years.
Exactly. So it's too late. We want a scenario like in the Western world or even in China, where you find a kindergarten coming up with a watch. We've got kindergarten coming up with a video game. We've got kindergarten. Why? Because it will have been identified. The exposure. Let's have the exposure. Let's expose our learners to the facets that will then be able to spare, that will be able to inspire them to the extent that we easily identify the areas that they are good in. And then we shape, we nail, we sharpen, we refine, to the extent that we then want them to become, so that they realize their full potential. So I think the area is about how we are structuring our education system. The structure, I believe, is not correct. It has to be restructured. There has to be research around how do we implement a market-based education system. If one is an entrepreneur, let's develop, for example, fundamentals around entrepreneurship. What are those? That person must be able to be exposed to financial management at a kindergarten age. Simple, basic bookkeeping. That there's a profit and loss where you add the expenses, match against revenue. Then
because you need it. Definitely.
You need it.
Whether in your household or wherever you actually.
You understand? Yeah. A person must then be able to be given, like in the era of digital space here, must be able to be exposed to digital marketing, sales. Let the learner must be able to sell whatever,
Exactly.
a product or a service at a kindergarten.
age.
You need to wait. We don't need to wait post university or post
To start
the
teaching
academic
themselves now.
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
Because already, if you look at things like sales, it's got a lot of rejection.
You
So
see.
when you are rejected at a tender age,
Yes.
you are going to grow with that skill.
You
Yeah,
see now.
yeah.
So I think let's, if you look at our historical perspective from where, like the time we grew up, like in my case, in the rural areas, we were dealing sales. But I remember we would sell mangoes
Exactly.
at bus stops during
Bananas,
festive season. We would
exactly.
sell bananas, we would sell everything. Those were sales. But we then need a structured selling course for kindergarten. Remember, at grade 3, I was selling.
Exactly.
At grade 4, I was selling.
And that muscle is still in you.
Exactly. You understand? And I would then know that I've sold for $10. I would then know then what were my costs, things like that. So let's have the fundamentals. The fundamentals are not well structured. The fundamentals are not right. So let's structure fundamentals correctly. Let's organize the fundamentals correctly. And then let's have a structure where we start our education system. We transform it from
refine it, yeah.
The
change
focus
everything.
exactly. The focus now is about accumulation of papers.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's accumulation of papers. So to the extent that after you have accumulated papers, what's next? That's why you've got in Zimbabwe, in our case, you've got a lot of people who have papers, masters, PhDs, degrees,
But
who are roaming out
nothing
the
is
streets.
coming out,
Why?
yeah.
Because sometimes it's not because, of course, I know the job market has shrunken over the years, but sometimes they lack the requisite skills.
Exactly.
There's a huge skills gap in terms of the papers that you claim to hold. So it becomes a challenge. Why? Because industry cannot be able to absorb you, commerce cannot be able to absorb you on the basis of the
And
papers
your
that you've accumulated.
expectation is also
the expectation
high.
is very high.
Because
You
someone
understand?
is expecting $1,000 as an account.
Correct.
But you're giving them a basic Form 2 question. They
Exactly.
cannot answer.
They can't.
You're giving them practical question now. This is now pastel.
Yes.
Solve this simple question. You cannot resolve that.
You understand now.
Like what you're saying, Doc, I think we need another session probably next year to dwell on especially our education.
Okay.
Just because of our time, I would just say you're parting short, especially to the guys who are in the education industry and the people who are also entrepreneurs out there in Africa, to say, how can you actually build a school? What do you need? Probably in summary, what can you actually say to these guys? I know there are people who are suffering. We've got people who are disadvantaged. We've got people who are in your scenario in 2013 right now who are facing a lot of creditors. People who are being brought in front of courts every day. You look at what was happening to President Donald Trump and what happened later. You won. And I just want you to probably tell these people, give them hope and your parting shots, Doc.
Yes, I would like to begin with the way I was brought. I'm a product of, I came up from a polygamous family.
Okay.
Yeah, my father had 4 wives.
Eish.
Known 4 wives. I'm saying known.
Known,
Yeah,
exactly.
because others were not known, but we knew our siblings outside
Exactly.
the official home.
Exactly.
You see, so I'm the firstborn of the 3rd wife,
Eish.
in my case. To the extent that, so the situation, we're quite many. I think my father's children, we are more than 20,
Eish.
to be precise. Yeah, so we would struggle in terms of coming up. We were a peasant family.
Peasant family.
Yeah, we were a peasant family. Grew up in Gokwe.
Schools.
Yeah, a peasant family. Yeah, so, but one thing that I would like to value, that I would like to appreciate about my parents was that they would struggle to send us to school.
Okay.
At least they managed to send us to school.
To school.
All of us.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody can then claim to then say even the 20 if I didn't go to school because there was no fees. No.
Okay.
Out of we were able to go to school. So hard work, we would miss school in the fields, in the garden, whatnot, but we would appreciate that was the circumstances around our family and around the time that we were growing up. But one lesson is that your current circumstance is not a measure of your future destiny. Yes. While the misfortune, the pain that goes with misfortune can be enormous. The degree of misery is optional. Why? I'm saying I'm telling you, I'm coming from a polygamous family in Gokwe down there, and you see. But where I am now is the journey was meandering, so it needed patience, it needed people resilience, hard work, focus, and you never be discouraged. It might seem bleak, it might seem unenviably insurmountable. The journey will always get to a destination.
Exactly.
So persevere. Entrepreneurship is in Zimbabwe, in Africa. It's not an easy journey. Yeah, you don't just wake up and then become, especially in Zimbabwe, where things change at a very slow pace, at a very fast pace. You then need to be able to find the skills, to find the necessary strategies to be able to survive under the circumstances of an ever-changing economic trajectory in our country. So what is needed is to remain grounded, to remain humble,
exactly,
to remain not ever to remove your eyes on the ball. You keep your eyes on the ball. Continue to work very hard. Hard work is not a subject of anything. Anything that you want to achieve, you need to work very hard. I remember my transition from post-university when I was at the University of Zimbabwe into when I then went into full-time teaching St. John's of mine. It was purely hard work. I would walk from more than 20 kilometers per day. Why? Because I would get to Kombis, and then I would walk to Shawasha, come back, walk to Westgate, come back, walk to... I knew the greater part of Harare because of walking. I didn't have a car then. So I remember, to the extent that sometimes I would sleep very late, around 10, 11. Then at the moment, 5 o'clock, during exam period, 5 a.m., you are up, you are already walking. Why? Because I had a target. So when I saw this thing of yours that I'm seeing on the right, where it's saying never lower your target, it reminded me of my philosophy. Exactly. But it was not documented.
Exactly.
You understand? So yeah, it's let's persevere as Africa, as Zimbabweans. Let's keep our eyes on the ball. Let's remember to pray to the Almighty. You always be able to overcome all the challenges. Remain glued on your destiny. It shall come. No matter how much time it takes for you to realize your dreams, at some point, destiny will always be achieved. You will always arrive at your destiny through your goals. You stay true to your vision, stay true to your mission. And I can assure you, I am a living testimony of the meandering journey that I have traveled ever since my childhood in Gokwe, right up to where I am now in Harare.
Thank you so much, Doc. From Gokwe to Harare, I heard about prayer, resilience, hard work, focus, persistence. Then you can be successful. So I think right now we've been put out of a jail as Africans. And I would like you guys to actually listen to this carefully, repeat it when you're feeling low, and just think about someone who came from Gokwe. This is a polygamy. He came from a polygamous family. And this is a guy who has made it in Harare. And I'm not bluffing. If you want, just visit the school in Mandara. And also remember, your kids are supposed to enroll at direct contact. If you want that quality education, if you want what you are saying to say, we are now identifying that this person is a videographer at a tender age. Imagine what would have actually happened if Dr. Koke was going to be convinced into be an accountant. What was going also to happen if Ja Preza was convinced to be a soldier? We're never going to get a musician out of him. So would like to say to you guys, thank you so much for watching, and keep on subscribing and sharing this video. We want to help as many Africans, so that I've said it and I'll say it again a number of times to say, we want to recruit British and come to work for us. We want to recruit Australians to work here in Zimbabwe, not as donors. We want them to be employed as accountants. We want to employ them as our aircraft engineering. That's my dream. If you're going to achieve it in 100 years or in 200 years, that will still be my dream. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Until next time, it's Nyazungu, the chartered vendor, out.